Hey guys, welcome to another Danz Newz Reviewz. I'm your host, Danz Newz. Here's the reviews. Hey guys, welcome back to another Danz Newz Reviewz. Today I am reviewing The Adventures of TinTin, directed by Spielberg. So, TinTin is a motion capture film that was released in theaters in 3D. I have the 2D Blu-ray because I'm not so high horse as to have a 3D TV. Those are expensive. The movie is produced by Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson, and the digital effects are done by Weta Workshop, Peter Jackson's company. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I could be pulling that out of my ass. Ha! I was right. Back of the box proves it. The movie stars Jamie Bell as the title character TinTin, which is based on the old comic series by Hellberg. Pretty sure it's Herge. I don't know. I honestly don't know much about TinTin. But from what I know, the movie combines a couple different of the Herge TinTin stories. And essentially, TinTin is a reporter who is he's a curious kid driven by curiosity. And he, at the very beginning of the movie, he finds a mysterious boat that contains secrets that could be dangerous for him, as well as the world. Or not really. It pretty much leads to a treasure hunt. Yeah, my thoughts about the movie. It's pretty much a classic Steven Spielberg movie. When I stuck the movie into my Blu-ray player, I was like, okay, Steven Spielberg, transport me to my childhood. And he essentially did that. I laughed at this movie a lot. And I'm not saying I laughed at this movie. I laughed with this movie. This movie was actually a really, really fun movie. I could imagine if this was a movie that was released when I was a child, I would have loved this movie, and I actually do love this movie. It kind of reminded me, it had a lot of just really rich characters, and that's something a lot of movies lack these days. I mean, the story isn't the most original. It's a classic. It's like Hook. It's like, it's like a bunch of different old Steven Spielberg kids movies combined. It has wonder. It has humor. It has adventure, and that's really what this movie is kind of. Just channeling all that with some really interesting characters. Now, there's TinTin, who's played really well by Jamie Bell. I was thinking originally when Jamie Bell was cast, I'm like, okay, he's like a mid to late 20s guy who's playing like a teenager. How old is TinTin? I can't really tell. From the comics, he looks like a little kid. In the movie, he looks more like a teenager, but he has like a gun and he shoots at people. And actually, the movie was kind of violent, but I'll get to that in a second. I couldn't quite tell how old he was. Oh, maybe I should have done a little bit of research on that, but I assumed he was of age considering he was living by himself. Maybe 18 years old, 18, 19. Don't know. But he was played very well by Jamie Bell. I was actually extremely surprised. Not that Jamie Bell has done anything to warrant me being worried about his performance, but I just wasn't quite sure how it was all going to work out, but he played the character perfectly. Andy Serkis played the character Archibald Haddock. Andy Serkis is one of my favorite actors. He is one of the few actors that can disappear into any role. Not knowing Andy Serkis played that character going into the movie, I would not. Well, most of these characters, actually, the thing that's surprising about motion capture is it really allows actors to break free of the physical in any kind of animation, really. But that's something I really love about motion capture, not necessarily traditional animation. Traditional animation, characters lend their voices to characters, and sometimes their physical attributes or even their expressions while they're doing lines are translated to the movie, but their physical actions, like, they can't... It sounds different when you're going, and as opposed to you actually doing it as your character. And I think the idea of motion capture is it's like theater just kind of dressed up in an animated sort of way, because you can make actors look like anything. I mean, Andy Serkis' characters look nothing like Andy Serkis, Jamie Bell's character looked nothing like Jamie Bell, and Daniel Craig as the bad guy looks nothing like Daniel Craig. So it's easier to watch these characters as opposed to thinking, oh, that's Daniel Craig, oh, that's Andy Serkis, oh, that's Jamie Bell. And that's something that's pretty interesting. Same thing with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's characters as the two kind of bumbling Interpol officers. They were actually pretty funny. So yeah, that. But I was actually surprised that the movie was mildly violent. You know, Steven Spielberg's movies have always been kind of slightly edgy. And as this movie was PG, it was interesting to see pretty much someone gunned down on camera, as it were. But you know, sometimes, you know, in kids' movies, they go dark places. My favorite movies as a kid generally were kind of dark, and I always like it when kid movies aren't necessarily all sunshiny and rainbowy. An element of danger is always healthy for a kid's movie. But ultimately, this movie was just really a really fun ride, and I give it a solid 3 out of 4. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend you check it out, especially if you're a fan of, you know, older kind of kids movies or Steven Spielberg movies in general. It has very much an element of Indiana Jones in it. It is the kind of a globe-trotting adventure sort of story. So yeah, I definitely urge you to check it out. 3 out of 4. Good stuff. From Academy Award-winning filmmakers Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson comes the epic adventures of Tintin, racing to uncover the secrets of the sunken ship that made fast. A little bit of trivia here. If this one did well enough to warrant a sequel to be greenlit by the studio, Peter Jackson is going to direct the second one. So, little fun fact. So, yeah. I would assume Peter Jackson and Steven Spielberg would just trade off over the years. And I really hope they make another one.